Today is November 19th, 2023. Michael Cook speaking. It is currently, hang on. It's about 8 o'clock. I don't know why the focus isn't getting on there, but I made a video about like 3-4 months ago where, I cleared the path here. Within like 3 weeks, the weeds started growing out of the ground again right over the sidewalk. So, whatever, that's not the point I wanted to make in this video. So the point I wanted to make in this video is see how that pile of stuff is still there, and see how this sign that says Church of Christ and SBS School after that light is still there. But the church isn't there anymore. It hasn't been for like, I don't know, 10 years or so, but the sign is still there. So what is it that I'm trying to like draw up a conclusion on is that our society has a lot of people in it that just kind of drive right by stuff like that, or they just gloss over details and they don't really care about any of those details. Like, it's not like a life or death thing that sign is still there. But like, you know, the Stewart's Corporation built that store in like a radical amount of time, and like they turned this place from whatever it was into like a St. Peter's like clinic or whatever. You're gonna cross the road here, and you know, like if someone has a lot of money and they can throw it at something, it'll get a lot of attention. But you know, what doesn't get a lot of attention are these little things that stand out for a while. And you know, some people might say that I'm being pedantic by saying all that, right? So being pedantic is sort of like you're indicating like every little thing about something. You're like splitting hairs or things of that nature. But there are so many problems in our society that revolve around like people just kind of glossing over shit and not paying attention to it. It's like the best case that I can make is you know, it's that cop that just drove by. Is he gonna go do something about that sign there? Nope, he's not. Are they gonna do anything about it? Nope, they're not. You know, if it's been there for like 10 years and the church hasn't been there for like 10 years, they're just gonna leave the sign there for another like 5,000 years. You know, nobody is ever gonna notice it, is what I'm getting at. The parallel that I'm attempting to draw up here is that if you make indication of how people like gloss over certain details or whatever, you start to illuminate that a lot of people have holes in the way they think. So like what I mean is like fallacies and stuff. You know, I did talk about some of this in the video I made back in July, right? It's like you know, Mark Rober on YouTube, like former engineer at NASA or something, made like a glitter bomb package that he was sending like someone who was like scamming, or multiple people that were scamming people. I don't know all the details or whatever, but you know, like he worked with Jim Browning, I think, to go after like scammers and like get this glitter bomb to explode right in their house or whatever. Right, like you'd think that the FBI would take some of that more seriously, but I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. What I noticed several years ago was that older people that you know, keep to themselves, they're often targeted for their money or their retirement, or like whatever valuables they may have, and it's what these scam artists go after. And yeah, like the thing is like if this happens to an individual, like if there's just like one sign back there that, you know, points to a place that hasn't existed in like many years, people aren't going to pay attention to that because that's boring, you know. But You know what they will pay attention to is like anything that Bill Dake says, people will jump 100 feet. Oh, like, I'm not trying to say anything about Mr. Dake or the Dake family and Stewart's, but, you know, they have a lot of money to throw around. So if they just raise a finger, then people are going to do stuff. Or if Neil Gold, like, tells people that he wants to, like, kick me out of the Market 32 in Clifton Park, because like the staff that worked there didn't want to honor the gift card law that Kathy Hochul passed into law that went into effect like a month before I started having issues with the staff lying to me. Yeah, this dude named Mark at the Shoppers World Market 32 I recorded him in an audio recording, basically making up excuses not to give me the remaining cash balance of my gift cards. And they're like, well, we don't do that because you know, it's not our policy. So here's the best case that I can make. If let's see if we can see a speed limit sign here, right? There's a speed limit sign all the way up there. It says 40 miles an hour. Right, if the town decides to change a speed limit sign from 40 to 30, but people continue to drive by at 40 miles an hour, well, then the cops are going to start pulling people over. And then at some point, eventually, after enough tickets are issued to say, hey, we changed the speed limit here, people are going to slow down. You ever been driving down the highway and the speed limit is like 65 miles an hour, but everybody's going 75? Oh, it's because as long as they do it together, then there's no way that the police are going to pull them over for that. You know, like, I guess that is kind of getting into the realm of being pedantic, right? It's like splitting hairs and stuff. You know, you're being annoying by saying that a lot of people go 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. Well, the posted speed limit is there for a reason. But like, what I've noticed about people is that they like to, I don't know, get away with going a little bit faster. They got places to go, they got things to do, and they're not gonna waste their time arguing with me about the ins and outs of why, like, it's okay to do it when other people are doing it. So, like, that's just an analogy. It's okay to do it if other people are doing it, because what the hell can anyone do about it? Oh, a police officer could pull them over. Be like, well, I got you going 75 and a 65. And then other people will be like, well, I was driving with traffic. And then the cop will say, well, if someone told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? Would you jump? And if that person is smart, they'll be like, no. You know, my dad used to say that to me quite a lot. He'd be like, I would say, well, the other kids were doing it. And he'd be like, well, if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? And even at that age, I was like, that sounds dumb, so no. And yeah, that's it. It's like people thinking like a group mentality here, right? So anyway, this isn't really a video about that sign so much, but about like how blind a lot of people are, and they just drive right past things that don't really exist anymore. That sign is a pointer to a place that doesn't exist anymore. So somebody from the town should have taken it down by now, you would think. If people were paying attention to what they were driving by and they saw the sign, they're like, whoa, 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 Church of Christ, let's go to that place there. You know, like, I am making a big deal about that sign, but this is what being a man of principle is all about. Right? Like, this is just like one little thing. There's other things in life that sort of get under my skin. Like when I tell somebody that evidence exists about a particular thing, but like a bunch of people are like, well, we heard a different story than that though, so we don't have to like pay attention to this evidence that you have. Yeah, it's sort of like the same mentality of like driving 75 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone. You're operating on hearsay. Operating on hearsay is, the word hearsay is basically not that different from heresy, right? The words are very similar for a reason. You know, like the game telephone. Someone tells one person about what happened, and then that person tells another person what happened, but the message is slightly altered. And then that next person tells that other person, and that next person tells that other person, and that next person tells that other person. And before you know it, like, people will think that this church is still here, but it's been flat for at least 3 years. You know, going back to before 2020. You know, someone was looking to develop a neighborhood right across the street from Lowe's, and they still haven't done it. You know, they took this dude's house down, or a couple of houses down there, and you know, no development there. I wonder why that is. You know, someone took the time and effort to go ahead and flatten all this land here and destroy a whole bunch of houses, but nothing is there. And that sign that says the church is still here, oh, that sign is still there. So what I'm getting at is this: some people are really slow in the uptake. They're not so slow in the uptake when it has something to do with something that they want to hear, or something that they're interested in. But if something is just annoying to them, they gloss right over it and they don't pay attention. Or like, they allow themselves to get an update from like the news, which, you know, focuses on like the news has to make a daily judgment call of the number of stories that it wants to tell. It has so many stories that it could tell. It has to be very selective and concise about the stories that they tell, right? It's something that Noam Chomsky talks about a lot. And you know, like, he gets into like the political aspect of all of that. You know, what's the intended result sometimes is to sort of gloss right over certain details. And I don't want to make the case that like the news agencies are inherently evil for doing something like that, or the government is inherently evil, or the education system is inherently evil. You know, they are all forms of propaganda to some extent, but there are some takeaways from all of the things they have to offer and teach people as well. But, you know, the church isn't here anymore. Or like, you might have the church saying that you know, like, man's been around for like 6,000 years or something like that, or like evolution doesn't exist, or like, I don't know. You get a lot of this stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, did Jesus walk on water? I find that hard to believe. Did he heal leprosy? I find that hard to believe. Was his mother truly a virgin? I find that hard to believe. But did he get like crucified by a bunch of people for going around trying to teach people stuff? Or did he kick and flip tables and say, you know, you're those who seek to profit in my Father's house, in my Father's temple? Like, I don't want to talk about all that, because the point that I'm making is that there's like holes in the way that society operates or whatever, right? So the holes are this: if something is annoying looking and it doesn't blend in, then they'll do something about it pretty quickly. Or if somebody has a lot of money and they want to build something, then they'll build something really quickly, and a lot of people will pay attention, and you know, they'll build another Stewart's or whatever. Or you know, on the other hand, some guy like me goes to Price Chopper and I have these gift cards that have like a cash balance, a balance of less than $1 on each card, right? And the gift card law that Kathy Hochul passed into law says any cards that have a balance of $5 or less may be redeemable for cash at the place that sold the cards. Well, then the staff at Market 32 should consider lifting the trespass thing, and then like honor the fucking law that the governor passed in the law. And this is stuff that I talked about back in February of this year, right? So communications with people, it's like, consider this: right? Somebody that's born into this world has parents that have a lot of money and they have a lot of friends. And when they go to school, all the kids at the school pay attention to that kid. Whereas, like, some kid like me who had his father murdered when he was a kid, and was sort of withdrawn and traumatized by such a thing. The kids are gonna basically, they're not gonna give a shit about that kid. Nah, because that kid's fucking stupid. He doesn't have any money. He didn't come from a family that has a lot of money. There's nothing to respect about that kid, so they make up whatever the hell they want to about that person. And, like, for whatever reason, some people, they feel guilt or they feel shamed whenever you indicate that, right? So let's put a pin in all of that, right? I'm walking around the town of Clifton Park, and I've lived here for a very long time. Well, right now I'm in the town of Half Moon. And right up there is the town of Clifton Park, and I've lived here for a very long time. The only reason I know that sign goes to like nothing behind this Popeyes here is because I've lived in town for a long time, and I used to go to the place every once in a while. Every once in a while I'll go to church. I don't go all that often, but every once in a while I'll think to do it, or I will do it. And like when I go to church and I hear some of the people talking at church, like I hear some of the things that they're like taught in church, and I'm like, that's wrong. Evolution does exist. But like if I say that like while I'm at church, they're gonna be like, well, that's not what we teach here, right? That is what would happen if I were to bring that up. I'd be like, well, the planet has been here for billions of years, and if you look at science, this thing called science, the scientific method is meant to eliminate the possibility of opinions. Like a lot of people think that opinions and facts are the same thing. No, opinions and facts are very different. If I say that like somebody's an awesome guy, that's not a fact, that's an opinion. If I say that someone's an asshole, that's not a fact, that's an opinion. A lot of people, they're not able to differentiate like what an opinion and a fact is. And if you press people about how they'll think that certain opinions they have are actually facts, and you keep pressing them, and what you'll be left with is they'll try to say that you're being pedantic, or you're being unreasonable, or they don't have to answer to you, or like they'll be very quiet about it and dismissive, or they'll think that you're just annoying or whatever. Being annoying, that's an opinion. Facts and opinions are very different. There's an ambulance right there. That's a fact that I can prove because I'm recording the goddamn video. These cars are there. That's a fact because, I'm recording it on video. But like if I were to go around like saying, oh, I saw an ambulance there, like someone would have to believe me if I didn't have a video of that, right? Someone would have to believe what I said rather than like, take it on faith. And that's the thing about like a lot of these bodies or masses that I've talked about is you have to have faith or trust. Having trust in something requires like having a relationship with someone or something, and to like believe it. And the idea of like believing something, it isn't called a belief when people are forced to believe something. That's what our money system does. It forces people to believe that money is really important. And I'm not going to discredit the idea of money or finance and everything, but there's something to say about how when you have it, you get priority treatment, and when you don't get priority treatment, and you're cast off as an outcast, or people will develop like a sense of like, driving by that sign that I saw earlier, You know, the facts will be right there in front of their faces, but they ignore the facts because their feelings are more important than the fact that that sign is there. And if someone's going to leave that goddamn sign there, then so be it. Or if someone at Market 32 doesn't want to honor the goddamn law that got passed, they'll trespass me from the goddamn store, and then I'll continue to have additional incidents with the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office, right? I got hit by a car back on October 9th, 2023, and you know, the sheriffs haven't found the vehicle that hit me. I don't expect them to. You know, some kid got hit and killed in Ballston Spa a few days ago. They managed to find that person, but you know, if a mirror breaks off of a minivan, a Toyota Sienna, a tan or gold Toyota Sienna, Generation 2, had gold paint on the mirror that broke off. They thought it was a Chevy Cavalier. It wasn't. It was SUV, like I mentioned in the audio recording that I was recording when I got hit. Yeah, that's another thing. I was talking about a number of things in that audio recording, thinking about how the Shenandoah Central School District had trespassed me from the school campus. Why did they trespass me from the school campus? Because I was walking over the campus multiple times and making videos walking over the campus and stuff, right? And it's like this, right? Here's another cop. He's just gonna drive right by. Do you think he's gonna go looking for the fucking minivan that hit me? No, he's not. You know, what it says is Michael Cook can experience a whole bunch of tragedies, and they don't give a shit about that. You want to know why? It's because they'll try to make it about my demeanor or how I come across to people or how I seem like an asshole. But you know, the thing that's the most asshole-ish about me is I'll see a goddamn sign that hasn't been relevant for a number of years, and people will just continue to drive right by it, and they'll be like, "You're being annoying by indicating that sign is still there, dude. You know, you need to wake the hell up and do what everybody else is doing. Go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts and, you know, go make a rate of pay and take part of the economy and society. Stop bitching and complaining about all the stupid shit that you talk about in these audio recordings or these videos that you make. You know, you need to be a dependable part of, you know, society by doing whatever. Just get a job." And all this stuff that I just mentioned, you know, it goes through my mind quite a lot. If people want to learn about application development or graphical user interface design or programming, security engineering, network engineering, how to run Ethernet cables, how to, you know, configure a switch, how to configure a server or router or a wireless access point, or how to virtualize a bunch of systems, or you know, write a bunch of software. Well, from what I've observed, people only cared about that if you passed the interview. So getting into the interview is pretty difficult when you know, some of the rules that human resource departments have. It's you can't have an ego, and you can't exactly, you know, if you swear then the interview's over. You have to be humbled to have the opportunity to be in front of us. But when the shoe's on the other foot, if we're not paying you enough to do the job, and you know you're doing a stellar job, then we'll rate your performance as meets expectations. And then, you know, I'm not going to get into that, but you know, a lot of human resource departments, they lie to their staff quite a lot. I don't want to say the case is consistent where they all do. A lot of people just, you know, blindly trust one another, and you know, it's like a game to some of them. It's you know, the CEO of a company might be making a hell of a lot more profit by you know, running their company the way that they do or whatever. What gets glossed over is that the people that are doing the most work, they're just getting the lowest amount of pay that they can legally pay them, and you know, this is an issue. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. I didn't really want to talk about all the stuff that I just decided to start yammering about, but I don't know. End vlog.